highlights because of restrictions from the college football playoff. So we're going to talk about this and what a game it was to talk about. Ole Miss and Georgia combining for 30 points in the fourth quarter. Georgia had the lead entering the fourth quarter. Rebels rally thanks in part to Trinidad Chambliss adding to his legacy. He goes 30 of 46, 362 yards, 2 touchdowns. At one point, he completed 13 straight passes, leading Ole Miss on their final drive, 40-yard pickup to Dejon Stribling. Then it's Lucas Carnero from 47 yards out. It's up, it's good. And then there's some silly stuff at the end. Rebels get a safety, make it 39-34. And then there's just some nonsense at the end. But whatever, it's over. Ole Miss shocks Georgia. And hey, Lane Kiffin, we don't need you. Back here with the cavalcade of stars. Emory Hunt, Beanie Wells, Adam Brenneman. Adam called Ole Miss would win this game. And Ole Miss wins this game 39-34 in the most dramatic fashion, Adam. What did we just watch?
That's what a college football playoff game is supposed to look like. For all those other games we saw, that's what it is. Two great teams battling it out, two great quarterbacks. Listen, Trinidad Chambliss, in the biggest stage he's had in his life, didn't just show up, he took over this game. Completely changed the narrative around himself, around Ole Miss football, dominated this game with 3 of the best plays in a row I've seen a quarterback make all season to take the lead in this ball game, then came down again on that final drive, had a big throw, got him into field goal range. Incredible performance by the quarterback.
You got to love what we saw. Now, this was one of the incredible games, not just of this college football playoff era, but just this college football playoffs in general. This was an amazing game. Hats off to not only Trinidad Chambliss, but the entire Ole Miss football team facing adversity, dealing with all the outside noise, all the criticism, the wonders and the doubters of if they would be able to get it done without Lane Kiffin. What did Pete Golden do? He galvanized his football team, got these guys motivated. They went out and played inspired football and showed up in the biggest of moments every single phase.
It was funny because I looked at these guys playing, and this is the first time I could say Ole Miss looked like Georgia in terms of how they played defense, how they attacked on the offensive line, how they ran the football, how their quarterback did a great job being efficient, how they came up with timely plays on defense, how they played great special teams. Again, this is the first time that I've been watching Ole Miss play football that they have actually looked like they belong and also look like the team that everyone is feared of in Georgia or Alabama or all those big bad SEC teams. Ole Miss looked like that today, and that's why they got the win.
Trinidad Chambliss was incredible in this game as we saw him just become this legend at Ole Miss, right? He takes over for the starter, Simmons. When he gets injured, we forget about him, right? Like we sit here and go, he didn't start the season as the starter. He comes in, he's got the hot hand, leads them on the winning streak. They lose to Georgia in mid-October. And look what this kid does, 30 of 46, 362, 2 touchdowns. The second Ole Miss player in the last 30 seasons with 350 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns in a bowl game. The other, Jackson Dart, who's in the NFL in his rookie season with the Giants. Look, Chambliss came from Ferris State, won a couple of national championships there. And what we saw from him, this is the stuff that they write movies about, that they do documentaries about, that you're sitting in front of a camera and you're talking about.
This is why we talked about this in the pregame, how he had these championship game experiences more so than everyone else on Ole Miss's side. So he wasn't rattled. We were actually starting to watch the game and like, man, if they just give him a little bit more time on the clock, just enough time on the clock, you had full confidence that Trinidad Chambliss was going to go down the field and find a way to make a way to help his team win the ball game. And just the decisiveness of his decisions every time, he was making the right choice, the right throw, the right read, the right plays with his legs. And it's crazy because his legs were a good asset, but not in terms of him going and scramble for positive yards, but just buying time to find targets down the field to let his playmakers make plays. That was the difference in the ball game.
And we gave you a little bit of crap at the beginning of the show earlier before the game because, we were picking quarterbacks and you chose both of these guys. You chose both of them for that reason because both of them were similar in play, but the deciding factor was Trinidad Chambliss keeping his eyes downfield when things weren't going right. And we saw Gunnar Stockton take his eyes from downfield and decided to run the ball in times where he probably should have kept his eyes downfield, hit some of those downfield targets in critical moments. This was a crazy game And don't be surprised when we talk about Trinidad Chambers in the next couple of weeks of his name shooting up NFL draft boards with a performance like this. You talk about 362 yards that he had. He probably should have had over 400 yards because he had so many drops from his receivers in the first half. This was a sensational game, and one for the ages, certainly.
And I think you can really see how much confidence this Ole Miss program has in Trinidad Chambers, because when Georgia tied up that game and there's under a minute left on the clock, there wasn't an ounce of doubt that Ole Miss was going to be able to drive the ball down the field and get a chance to win the game. Think about that game earlier in this season. Ole Miss had the lead against Georgia, a 9-point lead, I believe it was, and blew it at the end because their offense couldn't move the ball in the fourth quarter. That was the opposite. And it would have been easy for a guy like Trinidad Chambliss to say, hey, we lost to Georgia. They're a great defense. Think about the pressure in that moment. But everyone rallied around their quarterback and said, Chambliss can lead us to the promised land. As Hakeem said, he became a legend in this game.
Well, you talk about what happened, right? After they take the lead, Georgia answers back. Gunnar Stockton throws a touchdown to Zachariah Branch to make it 34-31. Then on the next Ole Miss possession, there's no call on an egregious face mask on Kejuan Lacey. Ole Miss punts. Next Georgia possession, there's pass interference on Ole Miss. That would lead to a game-tying field goal. And so you're sitting there as an Ole Miss fan, you're like, all right, yep, they want Georgia to win this game. But as we always know, ball don't lie. And Trinidad Chambliss and that offense goes down the field and makes it happen. The play to Dejon Stribling, the 40-yard completion to set up the game-winning field goal was fantastic. We're going to be talking about that for weeks to come. When you look at Georgia let slip away here, I mean, they were leading at halftime, right? And they had won 75 straight games when entering the fourth quarter. What broke down?
The point of attack. Because when you look at the point of attack, that's where Georgia usually wins games and choke teams out on both sides of the ball. And we saw Ole Miss give Trinidad Chambliss a lot of time in the pocket to find these targets downfield on the offensive side. On the defensive line, how many times we saw Gunnar Stockton get hit, get tagged, that forced errant throws or forced him to keep his eyes down to where he's now not focused on what's going on deeper downfield, where there were two opportunities to make some big plays, perhaps touchdowns, and they were 3 of 13 on third down. That, to me, got Georgia out of their game. The Ole Miss out Georgia in that aspect of situational football and on special teams, which allowed them to stay in the game.
You know what I really thought it broke down for Georgia? Is at 9:31 in the third quarter, where Kirby Smart is deciding to go for it on fourth and 9.
Yep.
There were so many situations where Kirby's going for it on fourth down where he probably shouldn't have, because now you're giving Trinidad Chambliss, a guy that's on fire who was ringing like NBA's jam, you're giving him a short field. And they were able to take advantage of those opportunities, and now you're putting your defense in peculiar situations. Instead of punting the ball, pinning them down, and going out and playing regular defense, you put them in a peculiar situation to where they could not overcome.
Yeah, and Georgia, at the end of this game, had a chance to go win the game and score a touchdown in the red zone inside the 10-yard line. Ended up having to kick the field goal to tie the game, which gave Ole Miss the chance to win it. I think you really got to give credit to this Ole Miss defense. Yes, they gave up 34 points to Georgia, but they got that stop at the end of the game in the red zone to keep their team alive, and also throughout the game held Georgia to 3 of 13 on third down, had 2 sacks, so got some disruption against this Georgia offense, got Gunnar Stockton a little bit off rhythm. He wasn't quite himself on some of those third down and fourth down moments as we've usually seen. So credit to this Ole Miss defense that has struggled at times this season.
Georgia had won 9 in a row. That streak comes to an end. Ole Miss earning its 7th straight win since losing to Georgia. Now, if you're Lane Kiffin, sitting at home,
Who's that?
Exactly, sitting at home watching this game because he was at the women's basketball game, and you're watching this play out, and now you know that you get to face Miami in the national semifinals. You're 1 win away from playing for a national championship. Are you having buyer's remorse? What are you thinking right now?
First, you're trying to psych